quickly takes us through to item number 13, which is notices of motion. So the first notice of motion is actually one of mine. So I wonder if someone would move a procedural motion for me to vacate the chair. Thank you, Councillor Duty Chair. So Councillor Duty Chair is moving a motion that Councillor David take the chair.
That's right, that the Deputy Mayor take the chair, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder for that motion? Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. All those in favour? Carried. Thank you. Do you want us to?
Thank you, councillors. This notice of motion was put forward by the Mayor, Councillor Congreve. Councillor Congreve, Mayor, would you like to move the motion by reading?
I would. I'm just a little bit excited to be on this side of the desk to be able to speak. It's been a while. So I'd like to move a motion that Council receives a report detailing options, including associated benefits, risks and costs for Council to respond to the challenge of alleged illegal brothels operating in the City of Brimbank. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And can I have a second on that, please? Councillor Palm, would you like to speak, Madam Mayor?
I would. Thank you, Councillor David, Deputy Mayor. So this is a really interesting issue that we have spoken about on many, many occasions as a council and is of huge concern to our residents. I know that I have dealt with countless complaints from our community about illegal brothels allegedly operating within our municipality. So it causes considerable stress and anxiety to neighbours, whether they be residents or businesses. And as we all know, investigating illegal brothels is very, very challenging for local government to respond to. And given the limited legislation that's around this and the risk faced by council officers, it's very, very difficult for us to prosecute. Currently, our process is to refer anything or any allegations of illegal brothels to Victoria Police and through the local police station and more specifically the Sex Industry Coordination Unit. However, the community has still got concerns in relation to the length of time that is taken to investigate these issues, and I'm sure our police have a million other things to do as well. So this is not about throwing something at the police and saying you're not doing it fast enough. It is simply saying it's a long process. We recognise that. So the powers that enable us to work through alleged brothels under the Planning Environmental Act of 1987, as I mentioned before, are very, very limited. And given the issues and concerns associated with the rise of alleged illegal brothels and lack of available tools under the Planning and Environment Act of 1987, this motion requests that an options paper be prepared to explore a range of possible responses that may be available to this council. So I've been doing some discussions and have read a number of newspaper articles recently in relation to the work that the City of Kingston is doing in this area. And they have appointed dedicated investigators as a council to help them investigate the instances of alleged illegal brothels, and they have indeed closed down 18 illegal brothels under this process. So my understanding is that the City of Greater Dandenong have done something similar, and there's a number of about 34 that's floating around in terms of these investigators that have been able to investigate and close down in those particular areas. For Brimbank, and as I mentioned before, I've had a number of people come up to me and talk about this, but I know of at least 6 in the grasslands area that are allegedly operating as brothels that members of the community have raised with me. Some of these are having significant impact on local businesses. So it's a really, really challenging situation. I know of one particular business that contacted me that has a plaster wall between their business and the business operating next door illegally, and they have had significant issues with noise coming through that through the walls. They've had to move staff into different areas of the building, and it has significantly impacted their business model and their operations. So it's a huge impost to them. The other interesting fact is that I'll be shortly speaking at a hepatitis forum for medical professionals over at VU, and some of the statistics that are coming through is that hepatitis B is at the highest, Brimbank has the highest level of hepatitis V in Victoria, which is of course transmitted by sexually, or as one of the ways of being able to transmit that. So that's a concern to me. Licensed brothels, as we all know, they're highly regulated, and they're regulated to ensure the safety of the workers, the protection of the workers, and that proper practices are maintained, including using appropriate protection while undergoing those acts. And when we have illegal brothels, there is no protection. These brothels are operating with no requirements over the top of them, no legislation. We're hearing cases of exploitation of workers, improper acts being asked and being forced upon those workers, unprotected sex, of course, and minimal, in some cases, no wages. We're also hearing of instances where these brothels are being used to traffic drugs and other items. And I have to say that when I drive past the massage parlour on the front entrance, it's advertising discreet rear entry. I wonder what might be happening in that premises, that they might need to be having people coming and going in the back entrance. So that's the reason that I've asked for this to come through. I'm really keen to see what the option paper comes through. I'm hoping and assuming that there will be an option that comes through very similar to what the City of Kingston has. And I also look forward to talking to our fellow regional councillors. I understand that this might be an issue that's been tabled at Lead West. I also know it was an issue that was tabled at MAV, at the Main State Council meeting last year. So there's councils all over Melbourne are significantly looking into this issue.
Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Would you ask him for an extension of time, Madam Mayor?
30 seconds.
30 seconds, a minute. Councillor Hedges,
you.
seconded by Councillor June.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, councillors, just in summing up, I think that we all agree, I see a lot of nods around the table, that this is a really serious issue for our community. We really, really need to get involved if we can, understand what the options paper comes back with, what costs are involved, what likely benefits there are, what are our options in helping our community to attack this issue, because it is a big deal for them and it's a big deal for us, and we need to make sure that we're ending these practices. So thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Pound, would you like to speak? Thank you.
Yeah. After hearing what the mayor was saying, I feel very hopeless. That I think I've been raising this issue since I just came into council,
Sure.
and witnessing some of the brothel actually changing owners, and also witnessing eyesore unwanted personal item that hanging at the rear entrance of the brothel, where a lot of children actually walk by the laneway. There's a lot of shoppers, a lot of people, and nothing getting done. Not including so many syringes that probably seeing around that place. I don't know how long it will last from now on, and what can be done. I hope this will be improved, because it is such a harm. Not to see it, but to just thinking about what we're affecting the children nearby, people who live nearby, the family as well, and also the worker that in those places. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Palm. Any other comments, councillors? Councillor Hedges.
Great notice of motion and support it fully. For me, this particular issue is one that has a bit more depth to it. I think we've seen council and police work together really well in the Perth Avenue area, where we had an illegal brothel operating next to the Perth Avenue shops, and it took local residents and plenty of other people to identify it, and then for the council to do a piece of work around the business and the leasing arrangements around the business and various other business matters, and worked in conjunction with police. That particular illegal brothel was closed down, and we now have the Sadie Black's Cafe in place. What a difference! And that particular cafe is a real central point in the Albion community now. valued, people use it all the time, and it makes such a difference. It is really, really good. So Councillor Congreve needs to be commended for bringing this notice of motion to Council. Councillor Pham needs to be commended for her constant reminding us of this issue and the need to do things about it. I know in talking to people in the community around the Harvest Award that there have been people who've been doing their own research and walking into places that are called massage parlours on the front and have the back entry and have gone in and found when they've asked for a massage that it's not a massage, that they would be offered it to be something else altogether. And I know one particular individual did a quick survey and found there were 10 in this immediate area. So it's a big issue. The biggest issue of all for me, though, is that there are groups of women who are being transported between these facilities in the backs of trucks every day or two to move around and be shopped around as pieces of meat. And for me, we talked earlier about the fairness, equity and respect strategy. This just flies in the face of it. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Thank you for bringing it forward. It is much needed, and I think the community generally would be highly supportive of any work that the council could do to work with in a cooperative relationship with the police to bring about the demise of as many of these particular institutions as we can around the city. So thank you, Councillor Congreve, and thank you everyone for continuing to support work in this area.
Thank you, Councillor Hadich. Any other comments, councillors? No? Then I put it to the vote. All those in favour? Unanimously carried. Thank you.